What's up, folks? I know you guys will be on here soon. So I'll give it a few. What's up, folks? I don't even got to say too much right now, do I? Oops. I'm going to sit here for the next few minutes and just smile. Look at those pearly whites. I'm being silly. Test. So, I'm going to call a few people up to the stage. Kurt has chosen to take the higher ground, but I will not. Jeremiah Invests. I know you're subscribed. Come on up to the stage. Laura, come on up to the stage, sweetheart. All the skeptics, come on up to the stage. State your case. Oops. Yeah, this is a victory lap video. No, it's not premature. Today is a wonderful day for several reasons. I actually had a really good day at work. Got some great news as I was leaving work. So I was just like, I'm just elated right now, man. So, just for the record, those old videos that were on here, they're going to be made public again. Do you guys remember the videos I did, the lives I've done, and the stuff I've said in the Twitter spaces when people said, T, what do you think is going to happen with this case? And I said, well, maybe they split the baby. And I said, you know, the earlier contract cells, or the options contracts that they had prior to creating the XRP2 subsidiary, Ripple that is, they'll likely try and deem those securities, but I think moving forward, everything that's on the secondary market right now will not be deemed a security. See, there's a reason I talked so much for so long. Because you'll have folks who will come out and they'll say stuff like, they got lucky. No, we didn't. We did not get lucky. Okay? We did our doggone homework. That's what we did. All right? No one's going to be able to use that line here. This ain't luck. Okay? I've been calling it for years. Before YouTube. Who remembers the little gazebo walks on Facebook? Huh? XRP is going to be deemed a security, secondary sales, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all right. Yeah. T, you're not a lawyer. You're just a tech guy. I get it. I get it. I do. I do. It's okay, right? It's all right. That T guy doesn't know what he's talking about, huh? Okay. Let's take a look at these comments. He said the gazebo lord. Yeah, look, man. The base walks and the gazebo walks were prior to me even being on YouTube. Those were, if you remember those, you're an OG, man, because those were during my Facebook days. So, did we win? Does the other portion go to the Supreme Court? Well, I'll tell you something funny, right? And this is something I didn't even consider. Let me get the seatbelt off. Until we had a conversation, and Kurt actually brought this up. Now, this was a really cool point. You know what Kurt said? He said, Ripple stated that now, before I even say what Kurt said, John Deaton came out and stated that I think it was him and someone else who stated it likely wasn't plausible that Ripple has spent $200 million regarding this lawsuit on legal fees. Well, they may be right, because Kurt brought up an interesting point today in a conversation. Maybe some of that money they already knew they were going to have to spend regarding a fine to cover those options contracts, right, that they sold early on. XRP, look, man, all right, I have my little brief petty moment, all right, I'm not going to come on here and make this a whole slam the skeptics video, all right, but what I am going to say is this is the importance of doing your own research, right, and being confident in what you hold, okay? If Kurt's right, and that 100 million or 200 million or whatever, some of it was, or a good portion of it was allocated to cover some sort of fee or fine, essentially, regarding those options contracts, then this ain't going to the Supreme Court, guys. Look, you had people on here saying that XRP was going to be deemed, look, and I'm not even going to name any names. You know who you are, all right? And had people in my DMs saying, oh, T, this guy said they're going to the Supreme Court because it's going to be deemed a security and they're going to lose. And what did I say? No, they're not. This ain't good. Let me ask you something, okay, for all you folks out there. With the amount of criminal implications and conflicts of interests that have been pointed out regarding the SEC, do you really think you see a situation where where they walk into the highest court of the land and lay it out all out on the table? No. You're gonna look. I tell you right now, this thing goes to the Supreme Court, someone's going to jail, and that someone is going to be someone from the SEC. You said, where's Crypto Ricky? Man, I'm not even, you know what, man, I'm not even going to do Rick like that. You know why I'm not going to do Rick like that, man? Because regardless of what people think about Crypto Rick never disrespected me. He just had a difference of opinions, right? He never came at me sideways. He never said I was stupid. He never attacked my character. He never did anything like that. He just disagreed, right? That's okay, right? There's nothing... And I want to, I've clarified that I don't know how many times, but I'm going to say it again. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Crypto Rick having a difference of opinions, right? That's okay if you're a detractor or you have some concerns about what Ripple's doing, all right? That's natural, okay? That's understandable. That's not who I was blasting earlier. The people who I was blasting earlier were folks who went out of their way to essentially, attack me personally, right? Especially the last person I named, right? Telling me I'm shilling a dud coin, they converted all of their XRP over to Quant. Okay, okay, that's fine. If that's the move you want to make, fine. Quant's a great investment, but from an ROI perspective, I'm just saying, what would you rather have right now? 10,000 XRP or however many quant? The equivalent of. I mean, but what do I know, right? And that's always kind of been the narrative from some. What does T know? T doesn't know anything. Okay. Like I said, it's one of those things, man, where it's one of the most basic phrases that anyone can put out there regarding the space. Research eliminates fear. Crypto 901 says it all the time. I know you guys hear it, right? Oh, it won't be under $1. Don't worry about that, man. For those saying, oh, well, it's still under $1. Listen, what for those who have been on, because I've been really active in Twitter. Let me ask you this. Why do you think it's under $1 right now? Let's see who's been paying attention to me all these years. Why do you think it's under $1? I know why it's under $1 right now. Do you? Bingo. No institutional money yet. And why do you think there's not institutional money flowing into it yet? Let's see who's been paying attention on Twitter. Why haven't institutions flooded in with their money just yet? No regs. Okay, that's one. No utility. Well, what else? Liquidity. Okay, you guys are doing good. No regulation. Well, we already have mass adoption. And that'll come out once these NDAs expire. The SEC already spilled the beans on that. Man, there's so many comments coming in. What's XLS 30D? And what would it allow institutions to do? Or incentivize them to do as well as allow? Bingo! Oh, someone got it. Jesus is a Muslim? Oh my God. Nice name. What did you just say? He said they can only hold like 5% due to regs. So, that's part of it, right? So now ask yourself this. What's the next step moving forward to allow these institutions to hold more? And what contributes liquidity to the XRP ledger? Who contributes liquidity to the XRP ledger? And what amendment is going to allow them to do that? And has that amendment gone live yet? BIS 2%. That's right. I wasn't going to correct them or call it out. But yes, that's per the BIS. Institutions can only hold, I believe it's up to 2% of their total portfolios in digital assets. Right? That doesn't sound very conducive for a global public liquidity pool ecosystem. No, it doesn't. No. They're waiting. Listen to me, okay? Because, look, all right, now I'm going to talk a little bit of shit here, all right? I came out, and this started in the beginning, right? Back in Facebook days, when I had folks telling me messaging had nothing to do with XRP or the ledger. The two were totally separate and they wouldn't interoperate. I wasn't even one of the guys who said XRP was an ISO token. I said the messaging standard is indeed separate and it will interoperate with crypto and DLT for the payment of for the purpose of payments. Excuse me. Yeah. Can't talk today. So it started there. People doubted it. What happened? What came out in the future? Now, listen, same thing with how I saw the lawsuit going, which is why I never really touched on it, right? People ask me, T, why don't you do more content about the lawsuit? Because I'm not worried about it. I know you guys remember that, right? I did like maybe 2 videos on the lawsuit and just kind of left it at that. Now, I theorized why they implemented the lawsuit, but I told you guys it was never a concern, right? Now, what did I also say? they would likely deem the early sells to institutions via those options contracts securities, but it would not deem XRP in its true form as a security, and the XRP that's currently on the secondary market would not be deemed a security. Now I'm telling you something else again, okay? And you know, you're free to disagree, that's fine, I get it, right? People have their reasonings for having a difference of opinions, but listen to what I am saying here. You had better believe these institutions are sitting right there, waiting. It is coming, okay? And and look, all right, I don't even need to tell you guys when or when not to take profits. You guys are grown adults, man. You know, at the end of the day, you feel this is when you want to take profits. Hey, you do your thing. I am not an official financial advisor. This is not official financial advice. This is simply my perspective. You can take my perspective and pair it with yours if you choose to do so, only after you've done your due diligence and research. Make sure that you research the market and make sure that you understand the risks associated with jumping in the crypto market. So I'm not going to tell you anything about profit taking because there are people that are going to sell off. I know this. What car is that? What do you mean, what car is that? You talking about my car? Are you asking what? The Challenger. Scat, all right, your name's Scat Pack. How fitting. Kenyatta, what's up? Hey, what's going on? We got everyone up in here today. Oh, the first 11 minutes were me being petty and just smiling at the camera, not saying anything. You didn't miss anything. You just missed petty T. But I'm not going to spend the whole video being petty, right? I think the next step is ironing out the regulatory pieces, right? They have to, it's good. There's going to be a situation that happens more than likely where you see institutions start rallying for custodianship infrastructure, right? They have to get set up now. Some of these guys, I mean, you see what Ripple did with Medico. You're going to start seeing a lot of that, right? You're going to start seeing that framework, you know, coming into real time with institutions being able to hold. They may not necessarily be holding it, but that infrastructure will be laid. And then I think what happens next is the BIS and other global governing regulatory bodies, you know, across all nations, release different framework, allowing institutions to hold a lot more. Now, do they tell institutions you can hold 100% of your portfolio in digital assets? No, I don't think that happens. But what I do think happens is that it's a lot more significant than 2%, right? Maybe even to the tune of 40%, right? Here's why. You gotta think about this, right? And this is repetitive for me because I've been saying it in Twitter for a while now. But you gotta think there's going to be a lot of utilization regarding decentralized applications when you see an environment where globally utility-based transactions are settled on DLTs and blockchains. This will require use of the ledger's native asset, which means we're not even just talking about banks, right? We're talking about companies as well, who would benefit from usage of the asset and who would conduct business on the ledger. They're going to need the token to do that. In order to enter into a global public liquidity pool, you can't do that with XRP that you borrowed, right? Like, as a retail holder, you're not going to say, hey, Ripple, loan me that XRP so I can throw it in a liquidity pool. That's not how that works, okay? You're going to have to do it with the XRP that you own, essentially, right? So there are going to be applications and amendments associated with the ledger that are going to require the token for interoperating within those environments, right? When this happens, or before it happens, I should say, there will need to be infrastructural framework laid out so that these institutions can legally and comfortably grab the asset and then put it to work, right? Now, one of the discussions we had on Twitter that was a really good one was what leads to the scarcity catalyst, right? Because we can't act like there's not, what, 50 billion almost in circulation. That's a lot, right? And for the coins in circulation and market cap bros, this is something that we need to look at for them, right? Because that's usually the rebuttal as to why the price won't reach a high amount. But that utilization, you got to think. And shout out to Kashta. I know some of you guys in here may not know who he is, or you do. But he brought up a good point, because I'm like, well, if it doesn't remove it from the circulating supply, then it has to remove it essentially from the open market somehow. The open market is associated with those order books, okay? And Kashta clarified that and said, you're right, it's the order books. So when the purchasing of XRP starts happening, what you're going to see more than likely, as it's required for utility implementation, is the order books get cooked, essentially, right? That happens, man. Look, all right, and what I wish people would have said as a rebuttal is not the market cap or there's too many tokens in circulation. What they simply should have said, what I think would have been a better rebuttal or a better skeptic point, is I don't think it gets utilized to the extent that people think it does, right? Thus requiring some sort of acquisition of the asset. Yeah, that always happens on Uphold, man. They can't handle that type of volume for some reason, man. Look, every time this happens and XRP makes a move, Uphold just craps the bed, bro. Like every single time. So you can expect, I knew that was gonna happen. And it didn't even go up that much. It's up, well, I mean, it went up like almost 100%, right? So what is it at now? I don't know, probably 70 something cents, right? I don't know. 70 something or maybe 80 cents. I don't know. I looked at it earlier and then I didn't look again. 79. Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of hovering around there as you know, some sort of support, right? What's next for FedNow? Oh Lord, I don't know, right? That's the best answer I could give. I don't know. But what I did say is that I could see, I mean, I don't know, right? Initially, they're launching with domestic payments. Now, if you look at the literature regarding FedNow, there is literature out there essentially associating it with DLT, right? That DLT can be an option. They're working on, you know, implementing cross-border payments, this, that, and the third, right? All good stuff, APIs and, you know, third-party payment service providers and the whole shebang. So looks like all roads, you know, if you're a connect the dots type of person, point to XRP being used upon the implementation of FedNow later this month. Now, what you're asking me essentially is, do I think FedNow uses XRP this month? I don't know. And that's the best answer I can give, right? I personally don't. I had said I would like to see the lawsuit resolved. It looks like moving forward, we have clarity that it's not a security. Tokenized assets, huh? XTC doesn't need to move. Do you guys understand what XTC is involved with? XTC doesn't need to move right now. Are you kidding me? I want XTC to stay low so I can hypothetically get over 200K, right? I don't move. Stay still. XTC will have its moment. You had better believe that. Yeah, but there are indirect connections with the Federal Reserve, or FedNow, I should say, and XR, or Ripple and XRP, right? Um, they obviously work with payment service providers or payment service companies that are partnered with Ripple. The goal eventually is for everyone to be on that XRP ledger, right? I understand that. Okay. I just think we need those regulations and certain things ironed out from a legality perspective before you see I mean, look, it's deemed that the secondary market sales of XRP and the token itself are not a security moving forward from what I've seen. So, I mean, you know, we're still not seeing a situation where, because look, other countries are not necessarily bound by what we do, right? So the fact that, yeah, it's gone up, but if this were a utility-based bull run, you think this is something? You haven't seen anything yet. When institutional money flows into something, it's violent. Like, and I'm not talking a measly 100%. Like, we're talking thousands upon thousands of percent for that asset, right? Like, so yeah, I think XLM will do its thing as well. I've always believed that, though. I've always been a huge proponent of Stellar and XLM. Expiration dates on XRP? No. No one's gonna vote on something crazy like that. You know, I mean, that defeats the whole purpose of having something like an XRP. Why would you want to? I get it, right? The concern is, are they gonna find some way, nefariously to get us out of it? Who is this messaging me? I don't understand why people do this. It's like certain people go and see me on YouTube and they're like, oh, T's doing a live right now. This is the perfect time to give him a call or send him 1,000 text messages. And there's another one. Do something on the AMM? You mean like do a video about XLS30D and the global public liquidity pools and harnessing, the volatility and, taking those fees via the arbitrage and paying it out to the liquidity providers essentially, and, that being the incentive, which is really interesting because, I had a conversation the other day where that's not that. It kind of sounds like a DeFi mechanism, but the way that they're paying it out, that can't constitute as a security like they've been trying to, essentially put out there that, if you're giving, yield on something, well, not when you're paying those fees out, essentially. I'm just saying, right? So that's something interesting to look at, because now it makes it, why am I getting texted like this right now? Why? What is that important that I need this amount of people hitting me up right now? Go away. All right. Said, I'm proud of you, brother. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm proud of y'all, man. Don't be proud of me, man. Look, my only purpose here, and I said this a long time ago, my true purpose here, doing content across these platforms, was to make sure you guys didn't get the shit scared out of you and sell early. That's all. I can come on here and spit all the convoluted tech babble BS and, talk about this, that, and the third and utility all day. But at its core, the real reasoning that I'm here is just to make sure you guys didn't get scared away. Those of you who may not be that familiar with the technology, right? And people say the tech side isn't that important or it doesn't mean that much, but the tech is exactly what leads to the demand. The demand leads to the value. They all correlate with one another. And I knew that if I could get just enough people to understand the bare basics of what this stuff is designed to do, then you'd understand the value in it. You'd understand why it would be in demand. You'd understand the solutions that it would offer institutions regarding the problems that they're having, and then you'd get it. Hey, my car warranty did expire this year for this one, right? You know, and it's not even, here's the thing, right? It's look, I gotta give a shout out to Digital Perspectives, Brad Kimes. I gotta give a shout out to DAI, all right, Linda P. Jones, Quincy Jones, Mick Alphanim, Kurt, Crypto 901, Chico, Chris Bennett, Kevin Outlaw, Kenyatta, Kita, the whole crew, man. I could go on and on and on about the folks that have come out here, even some that don't freaking like me, right? That have come out here and put out content regarding XRP and their confidence in it and never wavering. XRPville has been telling folks for how long, don't worry, it'll happen. It's coming. Be patient, all right? I'm just saying, all right? Those folks deserve a pat on the back as well. You know, folks have dealt with a lot of criticism having confidence in this asset and the outcome, right? So with that being said, it ain't just about me, man. Granted, yeah, I had my little petty moment, like I said, because I had some personal attacks thrown my way. But outside of that, man, I'm not the only one that deserves praise here, all right? Everyone in Discord communities across the space, Jake Claver even, right? Guys like Baggins, guys like Joe Schmo, you know, who's not a tech guy but got everyone together, Mr. Intuitive, you know, the Max Avery. I could just go on and on and on, man, about the folks, the HDAO folks that are up in here, regardless of what you think about the community as a whole. Look, the fact of the matter is that at the core of that community, folks were telling folks, do not sell. Lala and Alex from Clubhouse, you know, the Clubhouse fam. We got Crypto Queen, you know, putting out that content on TikTok, telling folks to just hold on, be patient. The value is in the protocol, you know. I didn't do this alone, you know, and if it were just me doing this, there's no way anyone would have taken it seriously because I would have been the only one. We did this as a collective effort to keep folks grounded. That was the purpose behind this. Guac Girl said it's been 84 years. You talking about for the case and all that stuff? Man, I can't see. Let me look at these comments. Oh, you want to see my ring? There you go. Turns out the Masons aren't necessarily the bad guys, now are we? Funny how that works, right? Ah, geez, a Mason, there's no way I can invest in this. It's terrible. The Masons eat babies and kick goats, or whatever the hell people say, right? Lord have mercy. I don't put my kids, I don't put kids on live like that, man. These people are crazy. Now I'm getting a lot of Mason questions. Dude, the truth is a lot of you probably have Masons in your family, man. Dad's probably one, your grandpa, uncles, probably got a ton of them around you and you just never really paid attention because the old guard didn't really talk about it like that, right? It's just kind of, We're Masons. We put our suits on. We go to our meetings. That's a part of our life, that we keep private, So you may be surrounded by them in your own family and not even know. And what you do, if you have any, concerns about nefarious activity, is ask yourself the character of the men you're surrounded by who you find out are Masons. Are they good men? Are they God-fearing? Are they spiritual in nature? Do they treat their fellow man and neighbor kindly? Start looking at, those principal tenets, as they're called, things like faith, hope, and charity. Do they exude these? Just saying. And then that'll give you a better understanding of what the organization is really about. Not some quacks on YouTube who claim, that they were 33rd degree Masons and they hold all sorts of crazy secrets and stuff like that. And look, man, as a Mason, I'm telling you, a lot of that stuff is it's sensationalism and propaganda, man. But like I said, people will believe what they want to believe, and that's why most Masons don't even bother. That's why you don't hear a lot of us come out publicly and even address any of that, because we can address it, say what's truthful, say how the rumors got started, and people will still be like, well, I saw it on YouTube, so it's got to be true. But hey, I'm on YouTube, right? And I've called some things, so I understand it, right? And there is some stuff out there that's accurate about Masonry. There are some Masons who are bad people. I'll be the first one to say it. There's folks who slip through the cracks, in every sort of organization that you can think of. But at its core, that's not what it's about, and that's what's important. Vic Nunya said, I had nothing but trust after I found out you were a fellow brother. Great Western Lodge, number 10 in Kansas City, Kansas. Love you too. Love you guys too, man. Kenny, if you say it says you have to believe in God, not which one. Well, I tell you what, you better not go in a lodge talking about I believe in the Jedi Force or the devil. Get thrown out, right? But you have Masons who are Jewish, you have Masons who are Muslim, you have Masons who are Christian, right? What rank? I'll just say this, man. I'm a Master Mason. We'll leave it at that. Master Mason and a Past Master. There you go. When you start getting into appendant bodies and stuff like the York Rite and the Scottish Rite, look, there is no degree higher than a Master Mason. That's all I'm going to say. You can go become a 33rd degree. Get kicked out of your Blue Lodge where the first 3 degrees are established. You're done. No one's going to say, oh, well, he's a 33rd, so, even though he got suspended from Blue Lodge Masonry, that Trump. No, it doesn't. And that's where people start getting the game messed up, right? You look at the numbers and you think the titles mean something. Those titles don't mean anything, all right? The only title that means something is brother, all right? And you become a brother when you become a Master Mason. That's it. No, I'm not a 33rd, man. I'm not old enough, man. That's an honorary degree. You usually got to put in, some serious work over the course of a lot of years, man, to have that bestowed on you. You guys are silly, man. I've been to a few Grand Lodges. They're beautiful, man. So Red Soon, let's talk about being the bank. All right, I'm just gonna wrap this up about Masonry. To be one, ask one. If you want to become one, go find one, ask them, get your petition. They'll get you going. As far as being your own bank, well, I mean, that, look, that seems to be one of the main agendas here, right? Become your own bank, essentially. But look, all right, with that being said, I think you'll be able to do certain things similar to a bank, but the banks are still going to maintain, a certain level of centralized control over society, right? That's just banks. The big banks are not going anywhere, okay? Passive income, you would need to. So that, look, that's where I think regs and legislation are important, right? When you start talking about passive income, that's a gray area. And it's a gray area because, look, you number one, you can't stake XRP, so you'd have to have. Lord, my phone is getting blown up right now. What is going on, folks? If you are watching this and you're one of the people blowing up my phone, stop. I'm not going to answer it right now. I'm on live. What are you doing? That's goofy. Go away. Says utility did not necessarily equal high price. Well, utility hasn't happened yet fully, right? And utility for an asset like this would, because utility means demand. What did David Schwartz tell you guys? Supply and demand. The market dictates the price, and supply and demand are intertwined in that. In order to enact utility with an asset like this on the ledger, what do you have to do? You have to acquire a supply of the asset to use it to interface with the applications. Look, another Twitter analogy that I gave. All right, what if you want to do something with your bank, like transfer money from your checkings to your savings, but the bank's closed? Let's say that the ATM around the corner is broken down. There's not one for 30 miles. What do? I'll wait. That's a homework assignment. You open your phone up, your smartphone, and you open an application, right? You use the application to facilitate whatever utility you need to facilitate or transaction, right? I'm looking at these comments. All right, we got a comment from Our Souls. It sounds like you will be able to delegate your XRP to the AMMs through PolySign and collect rewards while also being able to take loans. Maybe, right? I'll have to do a little bit more research with how PolySign would tie into XLS30D. PolySign could be totally separate from that, or it could be intertwined, right? Delegate, I don't know if I'd use that word, because that's not the consensus mechanism behind XRP, like a delegated proof of stake. But I know what you're getting at, right? I'm not going to play semantics with you. I see where you're going with this. And something like that, or something similar to what you just said, very well could happen. Well, I know what they would do is you wouldn't be provided, so the rewards you get would be provided in the form of a liquidity pool token, right? So you would take the XRP you have, you'd contribute it to the pool, they would put it to work. You'd be providing that liquidity essentially. The arbitrage would happen. The volatility would be harnessed by the AMM, and then those fees essentially via the arbitrage would be paid out as a reward in the form of a liquidity pool token to the participants of the pool. Now, there's been a lot of talk about impermanent loss, right? And look, that's important because we don't want to see anyone get liquidated or wiped out if they're on the wrong side of that exchange or that arbitrage, right? Depending on where you sit at, it could make a huge difference in terms of what's going to happen to you. But there seem to be mechanisms in play to prevent that impermanent loss. And it's more important, in my opinion, for retail holders to be protected from that impermanent loss, because look, an institution could take that hit, right? You and I aren't going to be able, to take that, right? If that were to happen and we got liquidated. So, but I don't think that's going to happen, right? I think they're going to have mechanisms in play to prevent that. And I'm sure there's people in here who can touch on that. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Algorand's a good project. I mean, the Bank of Italy already chose it, man. So there's your answer, right? And they're not going to be the only one. You guys, man. It's not a tumor. Ugh. Regulation J, yeah, so you're talking about, I'm pretty sure you're referencing that regarding FedNow, right? And that's part of it, right? Those regulations you just listed, yes, that will help, but we need legislation as well, right? So this is why I always say lawsuit resolution, regulatory clarity, legislation, and proper classification in that order, right? You can't have one without the other. So Congress, look, man, they're going to have to get off their freaking behinds and do something about this. Yeah, exactly. Don't be telling your bags, man. Bane. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, man. Oh man, you guys don't have to thank me, man. There's no repayment. You know, you don't have to say thank you. We all did this for all of us, right? You know, none of us, well, I didn't, and I know Kurt, we didn't do this to have people, you know, singing our praises, right? We did it to help, man. And it's hard to believe because there's a lot of folks nowadays who don't believe in that, who don't believe in just helping to help, right? It's rare, but there are people like us who exist who don't want anything from anyone outside of the better good of mankind, right? And you're welcome, you know, for those saying thank you. You're welcome, and thank you guys, right, for supporting me and keeping me sane going through this, man, because shoot, man, it's tough on us too as content creators, having to deal with a lot of the negativity and craziness. And I know some of that negativity and craziness came from people because of their emotions, right? People are angry, they're frustrated, they're wound up tight, you know, and any little thing that happens is going to send people through the roof. So I get it. Sologenic, if it does what it says it's going to do, you know, that could be a worthwhile investment. T, you're the one that God used to open my eyes to XRP's potential. Thanks, man. No problem. Like I said, man, this is why XPR, what do I think about Proton? I don't know fully, right? It's another one of those like Corium, like, you know, the white paper looks good. It looks like a worthwhile smart contract interoperable mechanism that correlates with other, you know, DLTs. Question is, you know, what do we see as far as demand goes for that asset? We have to wait and see. I don't know enough about Proton to speak on it definitively. Right? You got to think, when I say, you know, there's a lot of us who have done, like, you know, in this space, thousands of hours of research. We didn't spread it across 20 or 30 projects. We kept it narrow, you know, for a reason, right? I was born in the dark. Well, because there's probably some well purchasing up XLM, you know, or retail, or a combo of both. That's probably why it moved. It's probably the same thing in both assets, right? Man, when will institutions buy in? Well, that'll likely happen when we have regs, and not just Reg J and, you know, the stuff regarding FedNow. I'm talking about BIS style regs where they're telling institutions you can hold more than the currently allotted amount of your portfolio in digital assets. That's what I'm waiting on, right? Because you need acquisition, which then leads to utilization of the asset for appreciation. So That's what I would have my eyes out on, right? You deserve infinity thank yous. You guys are welcome, man. A crash or a shakeout, that could be, right? Like this is still speculative in nature. That's why I'm like, it's cool to see, but I've been here for bull runs, right? So I mean, when you see that stuff going into the dollars range, it's cool to see, but it's not like, oh my God, we're gonna be rich tomorrow. Like I'm kind of like, okay, when's it coming back down, right? Like I said, because once institutions, move forward with utilization, you won't know what hit you when you look at your ledger and see the price, or you're just going to be like, what? You're not going to know what happened. 357. Sean, I've heard that a traveling man can get anywhere on 15 cents. So I've heard. The Walmart guy messed up. Oh, you guys remember that? Yeah, it's unfortunate, man, right? Yeah, so we're just waiting on institutions to be legally cleared to acquire it, right? I think we're on the right path, and I think we'll get there sooner than later, hopefully. The 7-Eleven guy messed up too. We're going to see all sorts of crazy catalysts to follow. I guarantee you those NDAs get lifted soon. Man, I think once regs on, here's what I'll say. I need to stop saying regs. There are regs, but we need regs regarding acquisition and holding or custody of the assets to be released. What we really need is legislation. All right. When we start seeing that, that's when I think, those NDAs will start getting lifted, and then man, I cannot believe my phone is getting blown up like this right now. So I don't think we need regs. Maybe not, but we need legislation, right? You need, laws in place essentially to protect these institutions that are entering into a digital asset space, in my opinion. Oh, the FOMO broke up hold. You might be right, D. I mean, I could very well be wrong about it. I mean, shoot, I hope we don't need regs to that level, right? Hopefully they can just snap their fingers and this happens, next week, right? They probably want you on the Twitter Spaces. Oh, that probably is what that is. Let me take a look. Dang, it's everyone. Good Lord. Okay, this is a lot. Do you sell XRP now and buy once the price drops? Look, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do. Here's my issue with that. If you do that, what happens if something's wrong with the exchange you're trying to purchase it on? If you're in the US, you're kind of limited right now. If you're going to do something like that, I would wait and see if it gets relisted on more American exchanges, right? If it does, you may have a safer bet, entering in with that type of strategy. If not, look, man, I would just DCA. Last Chance says, T, your explanation of the technology kept me from walking away. My family thanks you. Well, you're welcome. I appreciate that. Uphold was not working today. Guac Girl said I wouldn't get cute. Hey, you mean this isn't the time? Like I said, man, with stuff on the horizon. I mean, you got a lot of people in the space, man, who believe something's going to happen with XRP and FedNow this month. Look, all right, I'm going to say this. My opinion is, and it has always been, that eventually they will realize the benefits of an asset like an XRP and XLM, etc., for domestic use. Even though to the naked eye it doesn't seem like it'd be plausible to exchange US dollar to XRP to US dollar, because it's not cross-border. I kind of disagree with that, right? I just think we need certain things ironed out before they start doing that. Now, I know FedWire will definitely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, touch XRP, right? But we'll definitely see. Avalet said, FedNow uses ISO 20022 for messages and blockchain for settlement. The question is, which ones? Not yet. They will. Right? Here's the thing. You're right. Eventually, ISO 20022 messages will coincide with crypto and DLT in order to make this happen. Here's my concern with that, though, for short term. You have protocols like ODAP that allow for blockchain communication between decentralized nodes, if I'm not mistaken. I know Overledger is supposed to serve as some sort of an interoperable glue as well. And then you have CCIP. You need things like those implemented to their full extent to start seeing these things happen yet. For example, Swift, I don't think they have their CCIP fully in place, or they're to the defense of those who are like, FedNow is going live this month. End of story. Don't worry about it. It happens. They may be going off of the assumption that it's already in place, right? And that's plausible. Because they're not going to come out and tell you it's built out already, right? They'll simply say, oh, we ran a project on this and it was successful, blah, 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 and then you kind of won't hear anything else about it. It's the same thing when I told people, look, the messaging layer and the crypto DLT layer have to interoperate with one another in order for this system to truly work. And then they came out with crypto ISO 20022 interop from the XRPL developers, right? It was all over the blogs, and then it just kind of went away. You didn't hear anything else about it. And then, next thing you know, you start hearing about DallyPay, talking about small to medium institutions essentially adopting framework to allow ISO 20022 messages to correlate with crypto, specifically on the XRP ledger. Specifically on the XRP ledger for the purpose of payment transmissions. Cross borders, right? So then there really wasn't anything about that after that, right? You didn't hear anything else. So the interoperability between crypto and messaging and DLT, we know it's coming, but you're not going to hear a lot about it. And by the time that stuff happens, I'm willing to bet you'll see it reflect in price. And then after it's become unobtainable to the average person, then you'll start seeing, man, these people are driving like crazy. You'll start seeing the rhetoric be publicized about what they're actually doing. $500 tomorrow. Let's not get carried away, right? That would be cool, right? Yeah, XLM too, man. Yeah, I agree. So Interledger is a multi-chain payment network, right? That uses a series of protocols. Overledger is an interoperability mechanism that essentially connects them all, right? So Interledger gets everyone together for the purpose of payments. Overledger connects everyone and makes everyone do a kumbaya hug, right? That's the simplest way I can put it. Space Cash brings up a really good point. He said, T, institutions likely have been testing it for 5 to 8 years, and legislation could easily be already done from your old videos. Yeah, I've said that before. And just need to be announced. Agree that's possible? It is possible, right? And like I said, there's even, people who probably don't care for me the most who have said things similar, and I agree with them, right? Because I've even said it. Like you just said, I said that years ago, that we could see a scenario where they have the stuff done behind the scenes and they're not going to tell us, right? The only reason I keep a concern, I'm going to tell you why I'm uber conservative, right? And why I won't just come out and say, yes, definitively XRP will be used this month by FedNow. Because when I touched on something and it wasn't even definitive, when I stated HVPS was going live, I wasn't one of the ones that said, hey, for certain, they will be using XRP. And I have the videos to prove it, where I said, without lawsuit resolution, legislation, classification, and regulations of the space, you're not going to see a situation where this thing is going to essentially replace Nostro Vostro and kick correspondent bankings behind. That can't happen like that, right? But no one really listened to what I was saying. All they heard was HVPS goes live in November. We're going to see a moon. Even to, up to the last week, I was telling folks, this doesn't, if they're doing this alongside Nostro Vostro and the lawsuit is still pending and we're still in an uncertain environment regarding regs, you're probably not going to, you may not see anything, right? And people got their hopes up so high and they twisted the narrative that I was putting out there to fit their own, and then they got let down. And I was just like, I don't ever want to see that happen again to people, right? Because that would defeat the whole purpose of me being here. Because what people will start doing, they'll start selling, right? People can only be let down so many times. That's why I didn't even touch on FedNow like that, right? Briefly, but it's like, hey, there may be some things out there that still need to be put into play before they can implement this, right? I get it. They can benefit off of XRP via a third party, but what purview and laws do the payment service providers fall under? Because anyone who's going to acquire digital assets as any sort of institution is going to fall under some sort of a regulatory or congressional purview, right? Are they okay to do this essentially, right? And if they are, that's fine. I hope they are, but I want people to remain conservative. So if something doesn't happen and they're using the ISO 20022 messages for FedNow alongside a correspondent system, due to those correspondent systems having contractual obligations with institutions, then that means you would need to see some sort of an accelerant, a geopolitical accelerant, wipe out the need or the desire for a correspondent relationship between institutions to coincide with the messaging, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means if Russia decided to launch a CBDC in a few weeks, and then all of BRICS, because what do I always say about BRICS? One does it, you better believe they're all going to do it. And that's how they've survived as an alliance for so long, right? That happens, right? And if they have a CBDC, that means they have a private DOT of some sort to house it on, where it would serve as the native token to that distributed ledger. That means that all the other countries in BRICS likely have to do the same thing. That also means countries outside of BRICS, where their economies interoperate with countries in BRICS, would likely have to migrate over, or it would be better for them to migrate over to a similar environment or the same environment, so that those interoperable economies can do business with one another globally across borders without any hiccups, okay? So, you know what? Russia coming out of nowhere, and we'll have to see if they're serious about this, but if they launch a CBDC, that could be the accelerant that we need to essentially, make these guys say, okay, we made a lot of money off the correspondent system, nefariously. I mean, I just got to call it for what it is, but we don't have a choice now but to migrate over to this, right? T, I hypothetically tripled my bags because of your content. Thanks, bro. It's only the beginning. No problem. Look, let me tell you something. As far as those institutional sales of XRP go, they're not going to trial, man. Look, you don't. If the SEC and Ripple go to trial over that, the SEC better make sure they don't have any skeletons in their closet. I can tell you that right now, because if they do, it's over for them. You have criminal conflicts of interest. You have nefarious dealings with adversaries of the United States. Man, you take this up to the Supreme Court if you want to. I am telling you right now, the SEC will not step foot in the Supreme Court. That is not going to happen. What car will you drive when XRP hits $100? Probably the same ones I got. I mean, I like my cars, right? Plus I got the system in here, right? So I'm more about systems than I like cars, right? But I'll get a freaking Tahoe and roll with that and just put a big system in it. And I'm talking one of those big demo builds, like sixth order, and maybe two 20,000 amps, 20,000 watt amps. I mean, maybe like, I don't know, 6 sundown nightshades, some 15s. I'm into stuff like that. I'm not a Mercedes, Ferrari type of guy. I'd get a Corvette. I'd get one of the newer ones. I like those. But I don't know, man. I mean, for the most part, I don't want a bunch of cars, right? I want my time, man. I want my time back. I've worked hard for a long time, and I just want my time. That's all I want. I don't want, the biggest house in the world. I don't want the most cars in the world. I don't want the most gold in the world, and to stun. I just want my time, man. I just want my time, because that's the most valuable commodity you can have, is your time. And money is simply a tool that can afford you more time if you have enough of it. Decent's my favorite cold wallet, but not official financial advice. No, that's all I want, man. Sure, I'll be realistic. I'll probably have some toys here and there, right? But I'm more so, look, I'm not going to be here forever, right? And I'm not, when this stuff really takes off, a lot of us will have so much wealth we won't even be able to spend it all, man. Trust, inheritances, all that type of stuff I'll have set up. Have a house with some land. I have a house now, but I live in one of the newer style neighborhoods out here, man, that everything's close together. Even though I have a corner lot house, so I have like one of the bigger houses in the neighborhood, still, I want something that's out there. I like being like out in the sticks. Not too far out in the sticks, but I just don't like being close to people. Yeah, debt is definitely the first priority, right? That's really what you want to do, is pay off your debts, right? You got a mortgage, done. Any consumer debt, done. That's always going to be the priority. Said I'm buying tea a beer when it takes off. Mr. Poole, I mean, he's called some crazy stuff, man. I'll say that. I think he's probably a vampire, or he's from the future. Gensler said, "Don't celebrate." Yeah. Whoa, Gary Gensler's he's petty for that, man. Did he really say that? Jesus, man. Well, and see, that makes you wonder. It's almost like it's personal, right? Like, all right, Gary. Yeah, but that's what I'm worried about, right? I'm looking at this long term. You know, like I said, trust, annuities, you know, property. You know, I want, you know, 20 generations after I'm long gone, you know, to benefit off of what I've done. You know, and I want my time, right? Like I said, I want to enjoy the simple things, you know, wake up in the morning and say, man, you know, I don't have to do anything right now, but I'll have a cup of coffee and go sit in my garden, you know, read the paper, or just look at the sun rise. And then, you know, hey, I feel like hitting the gym. Go hit the gym. Take a stroll, you know, kick it with my dogs, you know, enjoy my family, travel, you know, the simple things, right? Money, look, money can be great, or it can be the worst thing in the world, right? It depends on what your intentions are, and it depends on your understanding of money, right? People look at money as something, I think a lot of people see money and they're like, I can buy everything that I ever wanted. But in the end, those things aren't going to make you happy, right? What's going to make you happy are the people who love you genuinely, who don't expect anything from you, and time, having your time be free to you, grants you a certain amount of peace of mind and release from stress that you can't even put a price on that, right? You know, I want to be able to wake up and just say, man, I don't have to go clock in. I want to go fishing, you know? And here's the thing, right? My job, I like my job enough where I could stay there for a long time, right? I knew once I entered civil service for DOD and I landed the job I got, you know, I said, yep, this is the career and this is the job. And, you know, truth be told, I probably could stay at this job until I'm like in my freaking 50s, you know, and just ride off into the sunset and be fine. But like I said, that's time. That's, you know, hours each day that you're giving to something, where if you have enough money, you have enough wealth, you have enough passive income being generated, you can wake up and say, you know what, shit, I could walk into my job and say, all right, fellas, it's been a pleasure serving with all of you. How about we all retire? How about, you know, that may happen, right? There could be a point in time, the hypothetical XRP that I don't even hold, I could go in there and say, hey, how about each of you get 100 XRP from me? And that could be life-changing for them. Enough for them to be able to walk away, depending on what it does, right? We don't know definitively what it'll reach in price. Or we could see a situation where, you know, I mean, I'm just throwing scenarios out there, right? Because I guarantee you, everyone in my job, as much as they like the job, shoot, man, I'm sure they'd want to, you know, kick back and kick their feet up too, you know? These guys have been working hard for ages too, you know? She said, watch paint dry. Now, I ain't doing all that. I'm definitely going to enjoy myself. But, you know, like I said, man, travel, I'd be going on foodie adventures. Like, man, you know what? I feel like going to Singapore to eat chili crab. Why not? Go to the airport. Yeah, I'd like to catch a flight to such and such. You know, that's going to be $2,000. I didn't ask you all that. Run the card. Like, that's the type of lifestyle I want, where I can just up at any moment. Man, I want to go to Tennessee and eat some Nashville hot chicken. Why not? Or, you know, I want to go to Texas and hit up Cooper's Barbecue downtown in Austin. Why not, right? Just because I felt like it. XSP, well, that's on Ted, right? Ted's entitled to his opinion, but I mean, you have to think it regardless of what anyone thinks about it, you have to look at its utility. What's its protocol, right? It's a swap protocol for developers to use to move applications over to the XDC network. So do they have something else that's going to enable them to do that for virtually no gas fees, right? I don't know, right? Maybe they do. Franklin's, Terry Black's, Cooper's, Jaime's, I've eaten at all of them, man. Get off the grid and get off the gov. T, will this stream stay up for a bit after? Kind of wanting to rewatch it later because I'm kind of, yeah, I'll keep it up. Yeah, no worries. Well, I've been to Texas. I'm not a Texas man, but I love Texas. I'm not going to lie. I loved Austin a lot, man. Like, I was like, whoa, this city is dope. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of Seattle with better barbecue in Texas, right? That's what I'm looking forward to. D. Morgan said, buy land and grow my own food. That's what I really want to do, right? Why do you think land and property is so expensive right now? Man, look, having a farm is really hard work, so I don't know if I'd be farming, but I'll definitely be gardening. I'll definitely be growing my own vegetables, and I'll probably find a local farm in the area I'm in that you know, to get my chickens and all that stuff. Build a gym, that's, oh yeah, that's first on the list, man. Gym will definitely be built. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate you. Leave your seed phrase to family, man. So for guys who have questions like that, Jake Claver would be the person to ask about that. He deals with Caleb and Brown. They got a team over there in the mastermind Discord. Look, I know they charge. I get it. I do everything for free, but that doesn't make them bad guys just because they put a value on their time. If you have a chance, look up the mastermind Discord and find Jake Claver on Twitter, and those guys will be able to answer those type of questions regarding, you know, wealth management and things of that sort, like how do you leave something to someone, etc. I'm not even going to pretend I'm the best equipped to answer something like that, because I am not. All right. But those guys are. T, you have been a positive and inspirational man who has helped me through this. I and my wife, thank you very much. You're welcome, man. Like I said, mastermind, it's the mastermind Discord, the mastermind group. I would search Jake Claver out on Twitter, and then him and Max Avery will be able to direct you to the mastermind Discord. Yep, Space Cash. Now that I did hear about. He said there will be smart contract DLT companies who handle wills and death and seed phrases, etc. He's right about that. I'm trying to remember where I saw that at too, but I'm still not qualified in terms of doing it right now, right? Prior to all of that being implemented, I wouldn't be the one to answer that. Beyond Broke Mastermind, and that was from Kita. So yes, Beyond Broke. I said the mastermind Discord, right? But yeah, it's Beyond Broke. So my bad. And Kita, if you want to post your Twitter handle so that you can direct people to the group, because I think Kita's in the group as well. Please feel free to do that. I need to join. I've just been all over the place lately, right? So I need to get off my lazy behind and get up in there. But yes, Jake Claver is the one that runs it. Kita, Joe, there's quite a few folks in that group, and it's great, from what I heard, and Max Avery as well. So my wife and I are going to do great things in her home village of Vietnam. Man, that's what's up, man. That's what it's all about. T, glad to see things panning out how you saw it. I just kept it simple, man, right? I sometimes I may use a few big words and say a few complicated things about tech, but at its core, man, what I was saying was real simple, right? Because, when I saw the bigger picture, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is probably what would happen. Okay, so for everyone who wants to know about wealth management and, in the event of a death or, asset protection, Kita just posted her stuff on here. Did you hear Vel lost his chair? Yeah, man, I heard about that. I thought Vel put up another one though. He's still on Twitter. T, what's your favorite color? Blue? No, blue's not my favorite color. But I mean, it's a decent color. I'm the one that said I'm petty, and did you need my help trolling? No, I'm not going to troll folks, man. I had my little 5 minutes of trolling earlier in the video. I'm not going to do people like that, man. Truth is, man, people were just misinformed or misunderstood about the tech and about how that would play a role in the lawsuit, and that's okay, right? Like I said, I may talk a little crap here and there, but man, I don't have any hard feelings towards anyone in the space. I really don't, man. At the end of the day, people are free, and entitled to their opinions. Even if you disrespected me, whatever. Like I said, I'm not holding on to that, man. It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. My favorite shade of blue, I don't know. I don't know. Blue's blue to me, so just depends on what I'm feeling like. Said, brother, you remind me of Steen coming down from the rafters with a TPX bat to save the day. Much love, bro. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, there's some stuff that happened in the look. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but look, well, I'm not going to say too much about the Discord stuff. T, people have been saying September 2024. I've been hearing, and glad to see you, my boy. Glad to see you guys too. Ocean Protocol. I have to look at that. Discord's still up. Like I said, man, there'll be a link posted, and I'm still in it. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna look. The people who know, I'm not gonna put that out there or put anyone's business out there regarding, some of the stuff that happened in the Discord. That's internal stuff, so we'll keep it like that. Davey, what's going on, bro? Hey, Davey, right now, so I actually have travel that I'm doing to Massachusetts in a few months. My cousin, she has a book called Abuelita y Candy, and she's a children's author now, right? Which is really cool. I'm really proud of her. She has a book signing that she's doing for the book. I'm not going to put the date out there, but it'll be soon. What I'm trying to do is I'm waiting for my travel stuff to be sent to me from my job so that I can modify the flight. So what I'll probably have to do is fly into New York a few days prior to her book signing probably stay with her and we'll link up. And then I'm going to have them reroute my flight from Seattle to Boston to New York to Boston for the day that I need to arrive there. So I'll probably be seeing you and Joe and the homies here soon, bro. Just to let you know. We'll like I said, man, everyone is asking about the Discord. Look, folks, you want to know the truth? Look, I'm barely in the Discord like that. Like, I mean, but there are people who post good info, but I'm not like, there's a lot of stuff that's happened via the Discord. I'm not, shit, man, I got to log in and catch up like a month prior because I just don't go in there like that. I'm busy, man. Like, I'm busy, with my outside life. I have a lot of stuff going on outside of crypto in YouTube and all that, so I don't have the time that some people have to like catch everything or every conflict or every piece of information. I don't, I'm on the move, but I'll definitely make sure you guys, get what you're looking for. I asked about summary judgment. I don't know why people keep asking you the same question repeatedly. Yeah, I don't know either. So the judge ruled, from what I saw, right, and there may be more to it, that the institutional sales of XRP early on, and I think it's tied into those options contracts, were securities. Not that the token was a security, it's the way that they conducted the sales, right? And here's how you know moving forward it's not a security, because they sell XRP for ODL usage, right? So if they're able to do that, then that should tell you essentially that it's not a freaking security, because if it were, they wouldn't be allowed to, they'd be held accountable right now for sales going on. I don't think that's what happened. I need to see legal, I've seen articles and stuff about it. I want to see the legal documentation regarding this, like the actual court documents, so I could take a deeper dive into it. But the XRP on the secondary market is not a security. So oh, he said praise Yahuwah. I left that part out. Sorry, bro. Yeah, no problem. Well, guys, it's hot out here, man. I just wanted to give you guys a brief video. Say congratulations to all of you, man, for holding through, through all of this. Is it over? No, it's not over yet. We still got some more speed bumps to go over, but this was a big one, right? This was a pretty big win regarding Ripple, and a win for the SEC as well, because they're going to get some money out of this. You had better believe the SEC is going to shake Ripple down for a lot of money. I'll just say that could be to the tune of 100 million or so. They're going to pay for that, but that's okay, right? And I always kind of figured this was going to happen, which is why I said it. You're probably going to see a situation where they're going to receive a hefty fine, but moving forward, I think that those secondary market sales and the XRP in its current form as it exists today isn't going to be a security. And you know why I thought that? Because I think was it Jay Clayton or was it Bill Hammond? It was one of them, and a few others who had came out and stated Ethereum, yeah, they did an ICO and perhaps they started off as a security, but over time they achieved full decentralization. Whatever, we know it's bullshit, but that's what was said, right? Well, they became fully decentralized, so they're no longer a security, and you could see assets transcend that security designation. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, they're not gonna, amongst other things, right? But they pretty much said how this was gonna go. Thanks, T, for keeping the trail lit. No problem. Junior said, T, much love, hermano. Thank you. Ledger being at risk of being hacked. I have to take a look into that. I mean, if someone wants to get a hold of something, I mean, it just depends, you know. I'll be on the East Coast in a few months. Like I said, I'll be in New York. So for OPSEC purposes, I'm not going to say when, but I'll be hitting up some of the fam in New York that's even on here right now and tapping in when I get there. Just like last time I was in New York, I hit the Bronx, I tapped in with the crypto fam and blood family as well, relatives. So Dip Buyer said, family, you're the reason I started doing these YouTube videos about XRP. Thank you, T, for everything you do. Oh man, like I said, it's Jeff Baby said I'll be in New York. Okay, we'll link up, Jeff Baby, for real. I know you were gonna link up with us last time, but you had some stuff going on when I was in the Bronx. So it's all love. We'll definitely link up. Yeah, man. Exciting times. And like I said, don't just thank me. Go and thank all those other folks out there who were promoting XRP and who remained steadfast and who didn't shift their narratives, who stood on their square, who stayed solid throughout all the FUD and all the fear and held the line. They deserve the utmost praise as well. I don't know what happened to Bronx Boy, which is ironic because I got a shit ton of family in the Bronx, right? I was just in the Bronx not too long ago. So that's crazy, right? I could have easily linked up with him too. I don't know. Hopefully he'll surface. I hope he's okay. So, all right, guys, let me go get some food in my stomach. I'm hungry. Man, this has just been a good day, man. Like I said, great news at work. Oh man, there was something like I got my Honeywell certifications for IDS and VCC for intrusion detection, and it's not the hardware portion. It's the almost like network engineering for the config portion of the devices. And all that stuff's cyber infosec related stuff, right? Which ties into physical security, but because we're sysadmins, my certifications are in the sysadmin realm. I got those, so that was a huge stressor off my back for one of the major systems we deal with. Notice I said one of them because we deal with many. But outside of that, there was something else. There was a qualification that I needed to get, and I was just like, oh my god, man. And you know, I was stressed out about it. And you know, the guys that I work with, they're super smart, man. And you know, it's stuff that I'm not super familiar with yet, that they are in my department, and you know, they really helped me out, man, and I'm good to go on that now. So I definitely, you know, like I said, today's just been, man, you know, just a smooth day. What am I going to eat? I don't know. I did some barbecue last night, so I might have some tri-tip. I smoked some tri-tip, so I may do like tri-tip low-carb tacos and some water. I always drink water. Or maybe one of the ices, right? Those are pretty good because they're keto friendly. But yeah, that's probably all I'll do. Nothing special. Yeah, my old videos will come back once everything's fully solidified with the case and all of that. Yep, they'll be back on. That's all I'm waiting on. And there's a reasoning behind that. And I don't want to go into the reasoning behind why I made them private, because it involves another content creator, and me and him already dealt with those issues. But, you know, due to some stuff, you know, that happened that I was uncomfortable with, it made me make my content private for the meantime, you know, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Oh man, not Sukihana, man. Man, he says Sukihana don't drink water at all. Listen, man, I'm not talking about that heathen on here, man. That woman, that's a Jezebel and a half right there, man. Y'all are a mess, man. We might have kids on here, man, so I'm not gonna touch on what Sukihana's crazy ass just did, man, on the internet. Congratulations and enjoy your meal. I'm off to bed now. Have 5 hours of sleep because I had to watch your live post. Big T, keep walking in the light, bro. Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't want to touch on that on here, man, but Jezebel, hey, man, look, I just call it how I see it, man. Wear the Bane mask, T. Oh, I'm gonna do the Bane mask when the God candle happens. That's when the Bane mask is coming out. Oh, let me. It's freaking. There we go. I can't see, man. That sun. Woo. I'm not going to talk about what happened with B-Rush in the Discord. That, like I said, I already told you guys, that's internal stuff. That stuff gets dealt with privately. All right. Well, that's because of liquidity, right? Issues, Brandon. So, yeah, the God candle. Yeah, when that type of stuff starts happening, I'll put the Bane mask on. I might even be super petty and take the shirt off and get the little strap thing that he wore in the movie. Do the whole nine, right? Shave my head. And the Ric Flair too, right? I will continue to push out XRP content. It's not fully over yet. T, mucho saludo. Right back at you. Igual. Man, come on, y'all, with the Suki. y'all are killing Sukihana in here, man. Just for old time's sake, how high can XRP go? High as hell. That's what I'll say. I'm not going to give anything definitive because there's too many unknown variables, but it ain't going to be at no $50 long term. I'll tell you that. Not with the only way it, in my opinion, it remains super low is if it just doesn't get adopted or utilized like that. Can I say what you believe? I guess. Thank you, Puente. I appreciate it. We love you, bro. I love all you guys too, man. Thanks, man. It's definitely it's cool, man, to have a family, like this in the space where we all, look out for one another and support one another. And it's been I know it's been stressful, man. But just remember those basic principles regarding investing. Oh, Space Cash said no, I'm playing. Yeah. Whoa, it's hot out here, man. I'm shocked. It's humid. And it was cool like the past, man. Washington has some crazy weather, man. T, I remember you giving advice to that young guy working as a cashier at the grocery store. Okay, these comments are coming in. Man, every content creator was going live on XRP, even the ones that don't believe. Well, they got a nice piece of humble pie, I'm sure. Are we close to the finish line? I think we're closer to the finish line. I don't know how close though. Yeah, there's a lot of bandwagon guys that, were talking shit about XRP and blah, blah, blah. Now they're like, see, I told you so. Like, ignore that. We know who's been in the space for years. We know who's been putting out the content. We know who's been across what platforms. We know who was here because we were here. So those guys can fool newbies, but, we've been here and we've been doing this. No problem, guys. I got a lot of requests to go live, so I said, all right, I'll hop on here. And, yeah, Chiz, man, he went ghost. So salute to everyone. Like I said, I appreciate the thanks and the flowers, but remember, the flowers are not mine alone to have, man, at all. Not by any sense of the imagination. It's a team effort, man, to get everyone across the finish line. And we still have some more to go, but we're definitely at the right point, at the right place, at the right time. So, like I said, early congrats to everyone, man. Just be patient, and just know, to those who are skeptics of mine, when I say stuff, I'm not just talking out of my behind, man. And I think I've proven that time and time and time and time again. Doesn't mean I know everything, but I know enough about enough. I didn't say we'd get rich in 2023. I never said that. What I did say is that I could see the lawsuit wrapping up in 2023. Now, as far as when we get rich, man, that's anyone's guess because of all the underlying IT protocols associated with the tech and the migration over to the new environment that have to be done before utilization can happen, which in turn, leads to demand for the asset for the utilization, which then in turn creates a scarcity environment and cooks those order books on the open market, right? So, no, I've never given a definitive date on when we'd be rich. I never said that. And I'll repost all my videos and you can go through them and show me where I said that. That's dope, man, for Lulu. I know a guy that knows a guy. Yep, that's right. You guys remember. All right, guys. Good job. Good job holding the line. And stay steadfast. You may see a crash here shortly. It may drop back down. Don't get discouraged. Just hold strong, man. Continue to DCA. And in my opinion, if you have life-changing money that just happened out of nowhere, let's say you jumped in at a fraction of a cent, you got 100,000 tokens, and now it's at 80 cents, and you want to take a little bit of profit, that's totally up to you. Me personally, I'm holding the line, man. Like I said, I'm here for a long time regarding holding those hypothetical assets that I can't even confirm I hold. So we'll see. All right, guys. Signing out.